episode 31. I tricked myself last episode. Thought it was episode 29, but we're past 30, onwards towards 50. Thanks for tuning in here today. It's quite a joy for me to be able to speak in this casual discussion today based upon an atheist comment from off the web that I have selected, which includes my notes to guide me along for both our sake. I'm trying to get these under 5 minutes. Good luck to me. At least we got the introduction more down pat. Show off the tie. I like to show off the tie as part of the intro. And then I like to give a verse so that we start on the right footing type of a deal. Every now and then we'll change it up. Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Alright. We're already done with our introduction. That's it. 1 minute in. 1 minute in or so. And we got our introduction. Very good. Very good. Versus, like 2 or 3 minutes or so before. So, really good. Better than taking forever to explain it. Alright. This guy. I am familiar with this one. This guy is really militant. But we're going to deal with it. We're going to try and deal with the comment. Alright. Who's ready for the comment? I'll dish it out in full, and then I will kind of go point by point and discuss it. So, alright. This guy's really militant, but we'll deal with it. Has to do with climate change. Alright. Climate change is happening. Humanity is having a real detrimental effect. Your evil, twisted religion is impeding efforts to undo the damage. The damage of man-made climate change, apparently. All right. Well, how are we going to deal with this? Dang it. I just thought of a good verse to put in here, but I didn't. I'll try and wing it a little later. But, all right. Climate change is happening. We're breaking it down. Climate change is happening. I agree with the first point. For example, just what I was recalling that I didn't put in here that I thought I was going to say for later, but I guess not. First off, climate's changing all the time. Not only climate, but society and different moral type things. But society, the makeup of society, you look at what's happening with Europe. Oh yeah. So, there's bigger fish to fry, I think. But anyhow, climate change. I agree with the first point. Post-flood, there's a verse where it's God talking to Noah and his wife and the sons and the sons' wives. So the 8 of them and God mentioning that the seasons, something about the seasons that are kind of perpetual so long as the earth remaineth. So I think that's I don't remember it 100%, but I think that would be more in line with the eventual judgment that God's going to bring forth. Then we, I guess, won't have the seasons. So, with new heavens and new earth. But anyhow, I agree with the first point. Climate change is happening. It's happening all the time. But I think this terminology gets skewered beyond belief. But notice what's within this. Notice what is within this. What's within this comment. Notice what's within it. Climate change is happening. Humanity is having a real detrimental effect. Your evil, twisted religion is impending efforts to undo the damage. He's so climate change is a threat, a danger to humanity. Oh no, oh no. What he's doing is he's, in a sense, presupposing Christianity, and kind of making my case for me. He's presupposing Christianity, that the value of human life, that there's a high objective value on it rather than just a subjective, whatever you want on it. So, and with his view, humanity self-arranged pond scum or stardust from stardust. What value does that have? Whereas Christianity, one is made in the image of God, objective, absolute value based upon God. So, human life, all human life having high value, all human life. I was going to make a certain point at the end. I'm kind of on the fence about it now, but we'll see. But, however, after pointing that out, with this climate change terminology that's being thrown around for who knows how long now, I just think it's propaganda. It's total propaganda. It's total propaganda with one end goal in mind. So you can't really give an inch to this kind of thinking, this kind of terminology, because it gets skewered, and there's a certain end goal. Everything kind of heading back towards another world order, a new world order type thing. If you look into the Georgia Guidestones, it talks about keeping humanity within balance of nature, and we're all doing hunky-dory right now, but one can live your life, but these Georgia Guidestones, with whatever we're at now, 8 billion people, humans, these Georgia Guidestones say to drop that to 500 million, I think, which would mean one would have to directly or indirectly essentially murder 7.5 billion people. This is a very high stakes. This is high stakes. Very dangerous stuff. So it's very important and critical. To have the right position on this kind of stuff. But kind of throwing it back, why does this individual care if we're all toast anyway and the universe will just run out of energy at some point? Why does he care if the end route is essentially the same? And why not evolve and counter climate change that way? I doubt he's giving all his money to climate change causes. Boy, would that be a money pit. I don't think he's giving all this money to Al Gore or anything like that. I think he's just complaining. But anyhow, Humanity having a real detrimental effect. You know, that's probably the most difficult part for me to try and address. You know, having an effect. You know, it's tricky. There's some basis, and yet it gets skewered. You know, in terms of environment, not necessarily. I mean, the climate is, you know, constant change, warming, cooling, whatever the case. And there was ice age or whatever. So it can get warmer or cooler. Don't have to be an alarmist or whatever. The Bible mentions to multiply and subdue the earth, take control of things, and multiply. And obviously, population amounts at some point, seemingly one would have to concede that it sounds problematic at some point. But you know, and then what kind of balance do you have with that? Do you should we have like a okay plan for this or that, or, you know, fully trust God's plan, his timetable, and, you know, his return, you know, within a certain time span. You know, how can we solve this without it going a bonkers direction? I think there's much room for different ideas and things like that. Obviously, you know, Earth is finite, so it would make sense that it can only contain a finite amount of people. That does make sense, but, you know, as for who, you know, dictates that, that could get really dangerous real fast. So you want to be very careful. But, you know, we can make buildings taller. We can make stuff underground, undersea. You know, I think other planets seem a bit out of the question for now, but eventually that will come about and be possible. You know, and how, even if we had bonkers transportation in space, we would eventually take up space. Even though there's really bonkers quantity, but eventually the population would arrive to a certain point. So, you know, universe probably finite. I can't fathom how it would be infinite, but probably finite. So, once again, it just kind of pushes back that there's a limit. There is a limit. So, I think there's room for different innovation and ideas and workarounds. But I also think that there's a certain time frame that we have until God returns. So it's tricky. But I didn't want to. That was the hardest part of this to deal with. I didn't like dealing with that part of it. But Maybe someone else has a better spiel about that, a better argument. I'm not the best speaker, communicator, or argumenter. Certainly not. Neither with articulating points and arguments and this and that. I'm just trying to do what I can, type of a deal. But anyhow, let's kind of get back into it to a better extent than trying to deal with that part of it. Your evil, twisted religion. Twisted implies bad. He's saying Christianity is bad. What's his standard? What's his standard? What is his standard? I'm calling him out. What is his standard to call Christianity twisted? He goes on, is impeding efforts to undo the damage. Impeding efforts to undo the damage? How the heck is Christianity impeding efforts to undo climate change? I think a large degree of it we just can't be in control of. Whether or not we have another ice age or not at some point, we ain't in control of that. So whether things warm up to a degree or cool down to a degree, I don't think we can necessarily impede one way or the other. Like I say, it's a giant, I assume it would be just an infinite money pit. But you're free as can be to give your money to whatever cause. I don't think any of that stuff really would work, but so I don't know. But what I wanted to hit more so was your evil, twisted religion, the evil part of it. Once again, he is seemingly presupposing Christianity here, an objective, absolute standard of good, aka God. There is no evil in atheism. There is no evil. There's no good, there's no bad. It's all just neutral. So he's presupposing Christianity to attack Christianity. So he's kind of making my point for me there. And then from the objective standard of God, from that, for example, say thief, that being wrong, God being the objective standard, God not being a thief. God not being a thief. You don't steal. Why it's wrong to lie. Ultimately, rooted moral objective in God's nature. God is not a liar. God doesn't lie. God can't lie. If God could lie, then that just opens up the can of worms, don't it? Ooh, donut. Ooh, that sounds good. We'll have a donut after this video, or after the next one. I want to do one more, but anyhow, your evil, twisted religion. That is all the time trying to be used as a smear job terminology. But what he's doing, notice, in attacking Christianity there with that terminology, he's ignoring his own beliefs and his own religion. Which, no ultimate objective value, no ultimate objective purpose, no ultimate objective destination, no ultimate objective judgment or anything. No value, but yet he cares about climate change doing damage to mankind. Even if mankind, let's say, was wiped out by climate change. Well, wouldn't something else evolve and become the top dog? So, anyhow. Hopefully we get this done quicker here. So I'm going to try and end things off. Why not come to the camp where human life has ultimate objective value, ultimate objective purpose, ultimate objective destination, totally secure destination, and a judgment, but we escape what we deserve and get what we don't deserve. What is keeping you? What is keeping you? What is keeping you from Christianity? What is keeping you from getting saved? Did something bad happen in your life? And so you don't like the idea of God allowing that to happen? Or was there an evil act against you and you didn't like, you just find that incompatible with God allowing it to occur? Or is it a certain lust type thing in your life? Is there something you don't want to give up? Something in your lifestyle, alcohol, cigarettes, lusting sexually, or whatever the case. I forget the other one I was going to say. Is it something about God? Is it something about God? Is it something about God that's keeping you from getting saved and accepting the free gift of salvation based upon what God did for us? Free gift, salvation. Long time ago, dying and rising again in the second person of the Trinity, coming to earth as Jesus. What's keeping you from trusting him and accepting free gift? Can be forever with him, forever without him. Life, death. Life, death. Life, death. Man, oh man. A long time ago, I heard that free gift, free offer. I accepted, man. I accepted. I like a good deal. A while before that, I remember doing something bad, and the sensation of evil was just overwhelming before I got saved, years before I got saved, as far as I recall. And that was certainly interesting, but I was going from point A to point B, so I forgot about it day to day. But it's a very, very significant memory, and I'm glad I remember it to be able to share it. So then later on, I was presented with a free gift, and I got saved. But even then, I was busy doing something, and I wanted to just get back to what I was doing. Then years later after that, I wanted to look into things. I wanted to look into different topics, what's the whole deal, what's the different evidences, for and against, what are the issues, what's problematic. There's thousands of topics I haven't looked into, and I wish I could dig into them. There's not enough time. And I certainly wasted plenty of time, but I'm happy years later, after all that, to be doing these type of videos. So yeah. So what's keeping you? What's keeping you? This is something in the Old Testament, something about God, how he judged, him wiping everybody out in the flood except 8. Is it God being a judge with Israel on the Canaanites and stuff like that? I don't know. So, anyhow, trying to care. I care. We're getting more comments than subs, but that's okay. Not a popularity contest, but comments are a good sign. Comments are a good sign enough. So anyhow, I got one more video to do, so I think I have to take off. So, not this, but to take off. Those who call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. The thief on the cross had Jesus right there, and he told him to remember him. And Jesus said something like, "Today you will be with me in paradise," or something like that. Just something as little as that, man. Total secure. Amazing. And one doesn't have to do anything for it. One doesn't have to work for that security, getting saved or being saved or remaining saved. It's all done. Jesus kept the law, the moral law, perfect sacrifice, redeemed you back to God. You just have to accept and trust him and all that. And of course, typical things after. Obviously, you're going to want a Bible, a good church, and a good social support network, in case you need support or this or that, or different advice, stuff like that. So there's a time to grow, and then there's a time to plant seeds. I'm trying to plant seeds. Never thought I would be gutsy enough to do this type of thing, but nonetheless, we're trying. So anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more AA. Next time is episode 32. So we're heading towards 50. I want to get to 50. I actually want to get to 7,000. But anyhow. Stomach. I will see you ahead. As always, take her cool.